welcome into Blue Collar Sports, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. We sure do appreciate it. This is our 109th show ever now, and as you can see to my left, we got a special guest in studio today. We will get to that in a second. We got a great show for you guys today. We got March Madness, of course, back in action tonight, so of course we will make sure to cover that for you. Big time stuff still going on in the NBA as we get down to the Rays. MLB is also starting today. There's a lot going on in the sports world. It's going to be a great day.
Absolutely. So excited to be here today. It was a great show. Back from break on Tuesday, and I'm very excited about our special guest here today. So a lot of stuff is going on. I'm ready to get to it today, Seth.
Our special guest today is Dylan McGee. He has been on the show before. I believe you were on last spring.
Last spring.
It was last spring. Ready to talk some hoops and talk some football. Dylan, how are we doing today?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on the show again.
Absolutely.
Anytime. And we are going to start with a little March Madness talk, as that is back in action tonight. I believe, like you said, the first game was Gonzaga. I believe is in action in the first game. Gonzaga will play Florida State. We kind of gave you a little bit of our projections on Tuesday and Thursday, or on our Tuesday show. You heard kind of my projections and Trevor's projections, but we're going to get to Dylan's and kind of give you more insight on ours as well. We'll start with that Gonzaga game. It's a game we both kind of put on upset alert. I believe we both still picked Gonzaga.
Correct.
But it's definitely one on upset alert. Florida State, who you got in this one?
I'm going to be picking Florida State. I do know that Gonzaga has the number one offense in the country, but probably one of the weakest regular season schedules out of the number one seeds, I would say.
Yeah.
Gonzaga is favored by 8, but Florida State's defense...
They're favored by 8?
Yeah.
Wow.
Florida State's
That's
defense,
old. That's way too much. Yeah.
That's high.
Florida State is very lengthy, have impeccable defense, and their transition offense is pretty good. So I got to go with Florida State over Gonzaga tonight.
Going with an upset pick. They're big, and I think Gonzaga does match up well with them, so Gonzaga's big too. They're built around their bigs, and then Perkins, their guard, his leadership. But I do think it's going to be a close game. We're going with an upset in that one. We still both picked Florida State.
Yeah, I could definitely.
Gonzaga.
We both picked Gonzaga. I could definitely see an upset, though. You talked about on Tuesday how both of these teams are very similar in style. And you said it exactly right. Florida State is very lengthy and athletic, and I think they could give Gonzaga some problems. So don't be surprised if Florida State pulls the upset here. They're a very good team. They've had two great games as they've played so far. So look for that to be a great game tonight.
The second game comes from the South region. Tennessee, who I talked about on Tuesday, they are my pick to win the championship. I'm going to talk about more on them when we get to our favorite current players left. But they're in a tough game here with Purdue. It's a tough region up in the South. Purdue's a scary team. Carson Edwards, their best player, coming off a 42-point performance and a commanding win against Villanova. Is this another game you think you could see an upset? I picked Tennessee. I believe you picked Tennessee as well.
Correct.
But you almost picked Purdue.
This is going to be the best game of this weekend. Purdue and Tennessee, book it. It's going to be amazing. You can go either way here. Two similar styles, but I do have Tennessee winning.
Who you got, Dylan?
I know people would say if Purdue were to win, it would be an upset, but I believe either one of these teams could make it to the Final Four.
Yeah. I do. I think the winner of this game is going to beat Virginia.
Yeah, but last time Tennessee played, they were up by 21 against Iowa, and then they came back, went into overtime. So that scared me, but I think that's for the best for them, and they're going to beat Purdue by double digits tonight.
Wow.
I like that pick. I'm hoping so. I do think it'll be a good game. I think it all depends on how Carson Edwards plays. Purdue will go as far as he goes.
Yeah.
But then the night games, going back to the West region, another team that I like a lot, both my teams in my championship are playing tonight. That is Texas Tech, the 3 seed, going up against Michigan. Michigan, I didn't think they should be a 2 seed to begin with. I thought they just lost that day. What really confused me was they lost to Michigan State in the Big Ten championship. And then both Michigan State and Michigan were 2 seeds. Yeah, Michigan gets the easier region. Michigan State has to go through Duke. So that kind of confused me to begin with. But Michigan, I had them losing to Florida. They did look good. Texas Tech has been playing phenomenal. I think this one could go either way. Who you guys like here?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's going to be a fantastic game. I do have Michigan winning this one. That's who I picked in my bracket. By the way, it's doing fantastic. It's going to keep doing that this weekend.
First in our poll.
But Texas Tech looks phenomenal. I haven't watched too much of Texas Tech during the regular season. I probably should have seen that more because I would not be surprised if they beat up Michigan in this game and move on to play the winner of Florida State and Gonzaga. This is going to be another fantastic game, but I do have Michigan winning.
Yeah, like you talked about, you had Michigan going how far in your bracket?
I had them losing to Florida last game. I had Florida playing tonight.
Yeah, I had them going pretty far. Watched them in the regular season and all, but watching Texas Tech this bracket and seeing Jarrett Culver. He's averaging 18.8 points per game. I mean, I think he's going to take over, and Texas Tech is going to beat Michigan tonight.
Mm-hmm. I think they're the best defensive team left in the tournament as well. One more, they remind me a lot of Florida State, but they have that scoring power led by, like you said, Jarrett Culver. That Florida State, I think, is lacking. So I really like this Texas Tech team. Then the last game tonight, Virginia, another 1 seed. Played pretty well, got a little bit of a scare in round 1, but they've been playing well since. Get the lowest seed remaining, that is the 12-seeded Oregon Ducks, the last Pac-12 team remaining. I know you're pretty big on Oregon, but which way are you going? I know we both picked Virginia in this one.
I'm going to stick with my pick, Oregon.
Wow.
Kenny Woolen brings a type of energy to a team that you always want. He's like the Grant Williams of Tennessee. He is a hustler. Guy. He just makes those plays like alley dunks, big blocks. It just gets your team going. And last year, Virginia was the first ever number 1 seed to lose to number 16 seed. So I think it's going to come back and they're going to lose to number 12 seed.
Did you pick Oregon to make it to your Sweet 16?
No. I had losing in this
okay.
game.
Yeah, that's right. I had them losing to Kansas State, but Kansas State lost round 1 to UC Irvine.
I had them make it to the Sweet 16, but they're playing up against a very good Virginia team that I should be favored to win this one, absolutely. But like you said, last year, as a number 1 seed, lost. And Oregon, they got some power, so I could definitely see a possible upset here. But definitely, I do believe Virginia will win the game.
Be nice to have bowl, that's for sure. Moving to tomorrow's games, though. First one to tip off, Michigan State, LSU. LSU has gotten really out of 2 scares. Round 1, barely escaping Yale after Yale had a huge comeback, and then Maryland last round in a very, very close game, winning by 2, coming down to the final shot. Do you see any chance for LSU to upset Michigan State in this one, or do you think Michigan State gets through?
I just think Michigan State's going to get through. I don't really have I don't believe in LSU.
Yeah.
Cassius Winston for Michigan State, he's great. 18.9 points per game, great free throw shooter. So I think LSU gets in foul trouble really quickly and sends him to the line.
Yeah, I like Michigan State pretty comfortably in this one. Not like I said on Tuesday, I think they're going to beat Duke and get to the Final Four. But I will say with LSU, I know we talked about a little bit on the last show how they make it without Ben Simmons. But the whole SEC this year really, really impressed me. I mean, even look at the field right now. Tennessee's still in it. Kentucky's in it. LSU. Auburn's still in it.
They got the most teams,
the tournament. I know ACC's got 5, but SEC has 4, so it's really dominated by those 2. But SEC's starting to turn into a good basketball conference as well.
Best conference in sports, probably.
This year, really, really impressing. But moving to the next game after that, I think one of those SEC teams, one of the best games of the weekend, Auburn, North Carolina. Oof. How much do you like this North Carolina team?
I like them a lot. They look really good. Roy Williams is having one of his best seasons, I think, and Luke May.
Luke May.
He's I don't know. It feels
been
like
there
he's
a long
been there
time.
for years. But Auburn is looking really good, and that win over Kansas really just set something else. But I know Kansas isn't as great as they usually are. They don't have good guard play this year, but Auburn, it's going to be a close game, but I think North Carolina will win by like 3-5 points.
And this was one you almost called as an upset. You do like North Carolina, but you said
this game could go either way here. I got North Carolina winning this game because I got them into my championship. I think they're the second best team in the bracket right now. But I think Auburn's a fantastic team. They're going to keep this game very close, and Charles Barkley might finally be right that this is this Auburn team that could take down North Carolina and move on to the Elite Eight. I could definitely see it going both ways. I would pick North Carolina, but I'm very hesitant to pick them because Auburn's a very good team.
Yeah, Chuck Barkley's got to be loving this one, that's for sure. But then moving to the later night games of tomorrow night, Duke versus Virginia Tech. Duke barely surviving. Did you pick Duke to win it all this year?
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
Every year.
I thought you did. I know you're in a tournament challenge, so I thought you picked Duke. But Virginia Tech, we kind of gave our takes on Tuesday. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But what do you expect coming into this game from Duke?
Well, last game, what did we last game?
UCF.
You saw that zone and how confusing it made Duke. But then, within the last 10, 15 minutes, they finally figured out what to do, and they just put Zion on the top of the key, and he just has that one dribble step, and then he has such a quick second jump if he gets that miss. Mm-hmm. So I definitely got Duke winning this game against Virginia Tech, and Zion and R.J. Barrett are going to be a big factor, as well with Cam Reddish, like always. Those 3 players.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That was the one scare that Duke had to get through to make it all the way, and I think they're going to use that to their advantage in this next game against Virginia Tech. I see them winning by double digits. I don't know if Virginia Tech has any chance in this one. It'd be a huge upset if they do.
Yeah, Virginia Tech, they're a good team, but I think they're getting Duke at the worst possible time. Coming off a scare we talked about on Tuesday, this is a team that Coach K, I think that was a good game for them, that UCF game, to prove that this team can be beat. Kind of hurt their confidence a little bit, and now they're going to have to wake up and come to play, and I think Virginia Tech's getting them in a wrong time, that's for sure. But last game we'll talk about before I ask you for your Final Four prediction, Houston, Kentucky. This one we disagreed on. You had Kentucky. I've got Houston this one. I'm a big fan of Houston this year. I've been liking them all year, one of my favorite mid-major teams. But what do you think? You think they got a shot to beat Kentucky?
Yeah, I definitely do think so. They're pretty. They match up really well on the offensive side, but Kentucky is a little bit longer on the defensive side. They do have a better defense efficiency than Houston does, but Houston just has some really good guard play, and so I could see Houston beat Kentucky, but I'm going to stick with Kentucky.
So Kentucky and P.J. Washington will be playing in this one, which is a huge break for Kentucky. He did not play in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, this is another fantastic game. Almost all these games are all going to be fantastic. It's going to be a great weekend. But Houston, Kentucky, I do have Kentucky winning this game. It's not the powerhouse Kentucky team we are used to seeing. I believe they are a little weaker than years past, so that's why I do give Houston a great chance at winning this game. So I do think it will be close, but Kentucky's got a little bit more experience. Calipari knows what to do. I think Kentucky wins.
You are listening to Blue Collar Sports, and like I said, we go from 2 to 4 every Tuesday, Thursday. But next time we're in studio, next Tuesday, will be the Final Four will be determined at that point, as the Sweet 16 is today and tomorrow. Elite 8 will be Saturday, Sunday. So Dylan, going off your Elite 8 picks there, give us your Final Four.
Okay, my Final Four, I'm going to stick with Duke.
Got him going through Michigan State.
Yeah, Duke, North Carolina.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
And then you had did you pick Michigan to beat Texas Tech? Or I think you did pick Texas Tech in that one.
Yeah,
so you got Texas Tech, Gonzaga. Or no, you picked
Florida State, huh?
Yeah, I picked Florida State beating Gonzaga.
That's an athletic game.
Yeah, and so I'm going to stick with Duke versus Texas Tech, and then Tennessee versus Kentucky.
Tennessee versus Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky over North Carolina?
Yeah.
You are going to go over North Carolina?
Okay.
So you got all SEC in there, and then you said Texas Tech and Duke. Mine, I'm in my bracket on ESPN Tournament Challenge. Still got all 4 of my teams remaining. I did pick Duke, Duke, Texas Tech, Tennessee, and North Carolina. I still like Tennessee and North Carolina matchup. I still like Texas Tech locked, but I do. And I'm going to switch one and go Michigan State to beat Duke. Talked a little bit about that on Tuesday, but I do think Michigan State beats Duke.
I could still get my Elite 8 correct on our tournament challenge. I will get that after this weekend. But I got Gonzaga beating Michigan. I got Duke beating Michigan State. And then I got North Carolina beating Kentucky and Virginia beating Tennessee, which makes my Final Four matchup between Gonzaga and Duke and North Carolina and Virginia in my Final Four.
All the 1 seeds right there.
It's the favorites. That's what's going to happen.
Now, going through to the specific players, we're going to talk about players that are just left in the tournament right now. Much different conversation if it's all college basketball players. But I'm going to ask you, give me your top 3 favorite players and your top 3 players that you think will have the best NBA careers left in the bracket right now.
So my top 3 favorite players remaining in the tournament will also be my top 3 players that I decide who will have the best career in the NBA. And that is Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, and Grant Williams.
Oh, okay. You think Grant Williams is going to be that good in the NBA?
Yeah, he is. He's that player you just want on your team. He will go dive on the floor. He'll get rebounds. He'll get steals. He gets the assists. He gets the points. He's like everything you want. Yeah.
He's kind of a Draymond Green type player. I do like Grant Williams a lot, and that's kind of why I picked Tennessee with him and Admiral Schofield. I really do like this Tennessee team. Grant Williams, athletically, he's very undersized for an NBA player, but I mean, I think he reminds me a lot of Draymond Green. A lot of people are saying the same thing about Draymond Green when he came in the NBA. That's why he fell to, I think it was 32nd overall pick in his draft. And I think Grant Williams right now, I saw he's projected to go late 20s. So he's a very, very similar type player. But watching that steal at the end of the game against Iowa really made me think that this guy could be Draymond Green. But he's better offensively than Draymond Green was.
Yeah, that's absolutely scary to think. If you have a Draymond Green type player who brings that impact to a team, plus can have an offensive game, then that's very scary to hear. Any team's going to get lucky to have him.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. There's still a lot of good players left in the tournament. Trev, who's your top 3 right now?
My top 3 is not left in the tournament. I got to just go with the top 3 overall players. That's Zion, RJ, and Ja Morant.
You got RJ ahead of Ja?
They're 2-1, 2A and 2B. They're very close. I haven't decided yet, but we got Zion, of course, at number 1. I think those are the top 3 players, and after that, I don't have anybody else. I think those are the overall top 3, and I think all 3 of those are going to have great NBA careers.
Dylan, who do you like? We haven't talked about Ja. Obviously, Murray State lost to Florida State last round, but what do you think of Ja Morant?
He's a very good offensive player as well as defense. I know he isn't on the best team, 12 seed Murray State, but when I was watching that game on Saturday, I saw a lot of Russell Westbrook in him.
Yes.
And so I don't know how that's going to translate to the NBA. I hope he changes, becomes more of a team player and isn't shooting. I know he doesn't shoot as much, but still, I think he does average 10 assists per game, which is very nice. Also, Russell Westbrook is a triple-double machine. I can see Ja Morant being just like him.
Mm-hmm. See, I see a lot of Russell Westbrook in it. I do think he's more mature than Russell Westbrook, especially coming out of college. I compare Russell Westbrook coming out of college when he was at UCLA and Ja Morant. I think they're very similar. But Ja Morant, when I watch him, I think he's a lot smarter than Russell Westbrook, and Westbrook kind of has one gear. And I think a lot of people like that.
Full speed, yeah.
He's always full speed, but sometimes it leads to really bad decisions, and I don't think he's the best team player. But when I watched Ja Morant, the first round against Marquette, he obviously had the triple-double, and he was getting everyone in God. He looked like a very good team player. Second round, he was shooting more against Florida State, but that's because he had to. They had no offense. Florida State was shutting everyone else down, and so I think he understood he has to take it over. That's when he hit 5 threes in the first half. And so I think he's a very situational player, and that's why I do have him as my number 1 prospect.
Well, I'm
a huge fan of Ja Morant. I know we're going to debate about Zion later coming on during the second hour, but I do have Ja Morant as my number 1 player right now.
That's pretty big time. But if we have a Russell Westbrook that knows when to turn it on and off, that is scary to think about, because that's Ja Morant's ceiling, and if he could get there, then he's going to be a special player. So I definitely see those characteristics in him, and hopefully he can get there, and he will be a top 3 pick, maybe the number 2 pick.
It's starting to look that way, that's for sure. But stay tuned. We are going to head off to break. You're listening to Blue Collar Sports. March Madness talk is wrapped up for right now, but we are moving to the NBA. There's a lot going on. Our special guest will be right back here with us. We'll see you in a couple minutes.